I know for my family, there's been a bit of a shift. We adjusted, we got the e-learning thing, we had a little bit of a structure, and then that all ended. Monday was the last day for that. I know some schools it doesn't start till next week, but all of a sudden, the little bit of structure that we had was just gone. This was a year that we actually had planned to do something fun for spring break. Our kids say we never do that. They're always home while we work. And now those plans are off and we're all adjusting to that. So good times. And I'm sure a lot of you are dealing with similar kinds of things. So I'm going to let you in on a little Triple P secret. This is something we don't normally do until somebody's been kind of working at Triple P for a little while. But for this situation, we're gonna just let you in on that. This is called a planned activities routine, and it's a way of preparing and planning for a situation that you know might be difficult. So often it's used for when I go grocery shopping, we always have problems. So we use a planned activities routine to prepare for that kind of a thing. Or when I go to the doctor's office, or there's so many different kinds of things. It's different for everybody. I've found people using them in all different kinds of situations. So I'm going to talk through this method and apply it to planning for spring break and planning how we're going to do this. So the steps are always the same, no matter what situation you prepare for. So I'm going to share them and give examples related to preparing for this break coming up. And then I'll go back through what those steps are. And I'm going to say now that if you want to see kind of the worksheet for this, message us and we will send you the little worksheet that you can fill in your steps and make more copies of and do all of that. But also you can just write things down or however you want to do that, whatever works for you. So the first step in doing a planned activities routine is always to write down what the situation is. Triple P calls it a high-risk situation if the parent's attention is one place and the kids need to be doing something else. So that's like the shopping or the whatever. So in this situation, for you, this partly helps you identify what you're worried about. So your example might be the kids will be home alone during spring break during the day while I'm at work. Or the kids will need to entertain themselves because I'm going to be home too and we're all kind of on top of each other. I'm going to need them to be a little bit independent. Or whatever it is that you're concerned about, kind of identify that for yourself and write it down. Maybe kids need to cooperate with each other. They're having a lot of time together. How are we going to plan ahead to get a little bit more cooperation between them? So the first step is to identify the situation. The second step is to consider a practice session. This does not apply to everything, but sometimes it does. So this might be, for example, I'm going to need the kids to be able to make their own lunches. So let's plan for that. Let's teach them how to do whatever it is that you want them to do. My 10-year-old wanted to be able to take his dog out running, but he didn't feel confident he didn't have a route prepared. So we did a route together that is, a little thing that he can run as many times as he wants with his dog, and now he can be independent doing that, and I don't have to do that with him every time. So are there any kind of practice things that you want to do so that your kids will have that bit of independence and be able to do it themselves? So that was step 2. Step 3 is any other planning and preparation. Do you need to get art supplies? Do you need to have stuff for lunch? Do you need to dig the sports equipment out of the garage? Do you need to pump up bike tires? What are the things that you can do ahead of time so that those things are just ready and prepared and your kids will be more set up for success and your stress will be lower if you have those things? So that was step number 3. So the first, identify the high-risk situation. Second step is maybe a practice session. Third step is planning or preparation. And then a fourth step is to decide on the rules. So this is really to help you identify, what do I want my kids to do? So in Triple P, we always say it's more important to tell the kids what to do than what not to do. So what do we expect from them during this time? So this is obviously going to look different for everybody. If you're working from home, it might be, interrupt mom or dad if there's a safety issue only, or come into the room quietly to see if we're on a video call. If you are home, it might be, that during these hours, kids need to be independent and not interrupting. You might have screens can be used after 4 o'clock. Before that, you have to entertain yourself. It might be, screens need to be turned off at a certain time. This is going to look different, but it's important for you to think through what are those rules? What do you want from them? And that's going to give them the best chance of knowing that and doing it. And then a fifth step is to choose interesting activities. If you are expecting them to be able to entertain themselves all day, we're going to need to come up with those kinds of things that we want them to consider. So maybe making a list of things with your kids. You know, you can ride bikes, you can read a book, you can draw or color, or you can, if you have a trampoline, you can do that. You can walk the dog, have a dance party, weed the garden. I have one colleague who, she and her kid, they've gotten very into TikTok. They're doing lots of dance videos together. That's a together activity that they're doing. I know someone else, and maybe if she sees this, she might post a picture for us. She took 2x4s and made a giant Jenga set, like a head-high Jenga set for her kids so they can play this huge thing. So these things, they don't have to cost anything. You know, some of those were more those kinds of examples, but come up with things that would be fun for kids that will keep them entertained, and that we have sort of planned also for those ahead of time so that we're not just saying, stop, leave that, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then after we've kind of gone through all those steps, so we know what the situation is, we've practiced it, we've done our planning and preparation, we've decided on the rules, we've chosen interesting activities. Next things are to think about rewards and consequences. So if kids follow those rules, if they really do play independently without interrupting you, or cooperate with each other, use their words to settle fights, you know, whatever rules it was, what are going to be the rewards? So one thing we can talk about is small daily rewards and building up to something bigger. So if all of the rules were followed today, maybe you can choose what we have for dinner. I'll throw baseballs for you outside. We can read a book together. Maybe you can get a little extra electronics time. Something that they would enjoy and that would motivate them to want to follow those. And then thinking about maybe, okay, then if 4 out of 5 days this week go great, what is something fun that we can do under the current, you know, things that we're not allowed to do a lot of stuff. So these are really challenging, and I'd love to hear what you guys are coming up with. Is there a food that they would enjoy? Is there a park that they could go to? I think playgrounds are closed, parks are open. You know, what is something that you could do with them that would be motivating for them, that, you know, if this whole week goes well and you follow the rules, a reward that you could build up to. And then along with rewards, we're always going to bring up again, just praise is also a good one. If you catch them being good, if you notice them being cooperative, just mention it, say it, pay attention to that, because we're going to get more of what we pay attention to. And then rewards are great. That's great incentive. We're all human. We'll probably break the rules. So what are some consequences? Now, with this one, it may just be that the consequence is just that they don't get the reward. But you might want to have some other consequences on hand or ready for if it's more serious, maybe. And I'm not going to get a lot into that right now. If you already have something that works for you, great. If you want more help kind of thinking through a triple P way to do consequences, we also have a quiet time and time out. Please contact us. We'd love to go through that. And I might do that in a future video if that would be interesting to people. But to plan ahead for how am I going to deal with it if they don't follow the rules, or if there are some more serious kinds of things we're seeing. And then the last step is to discuss this plan with your kids and then get back together and talk about how it's going. So maybe after 2 days, after 3 days, get back together. How is this going? How are you doing? Do we need to change the rules? How are the rewards still motivating for you? Is there something else you've thought of? So to keep going through that, and always remember to notice something they've done well. So you've done a great job with not interrupting us. Something that I'm still a little worried about is I do hear a lot of fighting, and I'd like to work on that part about where we cooperate with each other, and then get their ideas on how you do that. So these are the steps. They're going to be the same, like I said, for a lot of situations. So write down the situation, identify what it is you're dealing with, consider a practice session, do planning and preparation for the situation that's coming up, decide on rules, choose interesting activities to do during that time, think about rewards and consequences, and then to talk about it with your kids and to do follow-up sessions after and see what they could improve and what you could improve. So I hope that can work for some of us. Let us know how it's going. We'd love to hear from you in the little in the comments section. As always, take care of yourselves. You'll be better able to be there for your kids if you're also getting what you need. And if you want to talk more about any of this, please contact us. Facebook is a great way to get a hold of us. We have our phone line in English and in Spanish. The person who answers can do either. It's 574-226-0160. Please, we'd love to be in touch and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you.